I call this meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. We'll now move to Section 2, swearing in. There is none. We'll now move to Section 3, opening roll call.
I have 23 senators present tonight.
We'll now move to Section 4, messages from the Student Body President.
Upon recommendation by the Senate and by my authority, the following have been signed and filed as law. SB-68-153, an act to establish a framework for joint committee meetings. SB-68-161, an act to appoint Vincent Dung as Chief Justice. SB-68-159, an act to amend the underserved senator seats. SB-68-157, an act to amend the Freshman Leadership Council section to update the freshman definition and clarify freshman senator participation. SB-68-162, an act to fund the Vision Care Pop-Up Clinic Initiative. AR-68-017, a resolution to appoint Senator Andrew Beam as the interim Academic Affairs Chairperson. SB-68-156, an act to amend the association agencies, and SB-68-167, an act to approve funding for the Shocker Fridge program. As president of Wichita State University, under the authority vested in me by Article 5 of the Student Body Constitution, I hereby notify that the Senate that I have reviewed the allocations of the student services fee. I hereby approve the following to take effect. SB-68-155, an act to approve the fiscal year 2027 student service fee allocations and policy riders. That is the end of the messages.
Thank you. We'll now move into Section 6. Section 5, messages from the Finance Commission.
Hello, everyone. The Commission has reviewed a series of organizational funding requests submitted by student organizations. The allocation was based on SGA funding policies and eligibility. For organizational funding this past week, we reviewed 2 applications. The Commission recommends funding the Pakistani Student Association for $1,500 and the Bangladesh Student Association for $1,500. These recommendations reflect each organization's alignment with SGA policies, and that is the end of the messages.
Thank you. We'll now move into Section 6, recognition of the March Senator of the Month. Good evening, everyone. I hope your day is going well. For our March Senator of the Month, I am proud to recognize the senator for their work regarding their legislation this month. They've been working with several other senators in addition to reaching out to several university administrators, in addition to other university bodies for this initiative. Within our discussions within Senate leadership, one thing that stood out to us was the senator's willingness to not only work within SGA with other senators, but also reach out to other student governments, reach out to other entities for what they have worked on for this initiative. Additionally, the senator has participated in asking a lot of questions within our Senate meetings, been involved in collaborating with other senators and giving feedback for their legislation as well. And the senator, you'll see them in the office quite a bit as well. For the March Senator of the Month, I am proud to recognize Senator Jamie Winslow for their work for their legislation. So let's give him a round of applause. We will now move to Section 7, 3-minute floor speeches. In lieu of senators using public forum as a mechanism to address the Senate, any senator may seek recognition to give a speech on a subject of their choice, not exceeding 3 minutes in duration. 3-minute speeches are focused on specific topics. Senators may only hold the floor once during this period. Are there any senators that wish to speak at this time? Senator Winslow.
Let me start out by saying that I am extremely frustrated. I am frustrated with two things specifically. First, the content of questions during my presentation of SB-68-165, or an act to create a police department advisory board during the last Senate meeting. Second, the lack of help, input, collaboration, and effort of other senators with this legislation over the past week. During the question period of my presentation, a total of 8 questions were asked over a 13.5-minute period. 4 of those questions were in some way, shape, or form this same question and made me repeat myself 4 separate times. All referred to a specific section relating to majors selected to serve on the advisory board. Let me say, what a waste of time and energy that was. It felt like I was being pushed and attacked for a single decision of that bill. It felt like senators were trying to catch me in something rather than seek clarification. It just sounded like they themselves wanted to amend the bill. I recognized this and sent a message to everyone seeking input on the legislation. I received 1 response from a senator who didn't even ask a question at that meeting. To everyone else who failed to do their due diligence and not reach out to discuss their thoughts and possible amendments to this bill, shame on you. I want this legislation to be the very best that it can be, but that can't happen without your input. You have failed to give that input. I find this to be insulting not only to me, but to the other co-sponsors, especially Chief Schroeder, who has worked very well with SGA to get this going. And to essentially attack the legislation over one section without giving any input after the fact is unacceptable. That is not what a senator does. By failing to give your input, you have failed to give the input of all your constituents and therefore have failed at your job. I ask that you do better in the future of representing those who elected you. Nothing further.
Thank you. Will you stand for questions?
Sure.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you. Are there any other individuals that wish to speak during this period? Okay, seeing none, we'll move to Section 8, Public Forum. Public Forum provides a chance for individuals to have the privilege of speaking before the Senate, limited to 3 minutes only. This is the time for the Senate to listen to what the committee has to say, and to that we offer undivided respect and attention. I would like to remind everyone that, although we allow the speakers the privilege to use this platform, the opinions of the speakers do not reflect the opinions of the association. Are there any individuals that wish to speak at this time? Seeing none, we'll now move to Section 9, and we'll now introductions and reports, and we'll move to 9.1, report from the executive branch.
Hello, everyone. Before we get started, I did want to let you all know that our Director of Food Insecurity and Sustainability has stepped down from her position. With only about 2 weeks left in the session, President Wong and I have decided to not fill this position. But moving into reports, Student Body President Wong has been actively engaged in the final stages of the Vice President of Student Affairs search process, as well as attended the RC Board of Directors and Budget Advisory Committee. Currently, President Wong is conducting the final Associate Justice interviews. For me, I have continued involvement in the Swipe Out Hunger meeting and conversations and university administration meetings. I am also prepping for FLC's etiquette dinner and end of semester event on Tuesday, April 21st. Student Body Treasurer Bum has been coordinating the appropriation briefings, which will be from April 21st through May 1st. He will also be preparing for the student fees presentation at KBOR. Director of Media Relations Zhang has finished the accessibility report and organizational funding materials and is working on the newsletter. Director Gracia Alvarez will be presenting right after this about his SGA Connect dashboard and will have his Pause and Boba event on April 15th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the RC. Director of Health and Wellness Raju successfully executed Wellness Week. Additionally, the Vision Care Clinic served 21 students at maximum capacity with 19 students waitlisted. So the next Vision Care Clinic is in the works to be scheduled for April 28th from 1 to 8 p.m. to accommodate the remaining students. Director of International Student Affairs Safdar had his Kansas Leadership Center training today, and it was a success. Director of Athletics Murphy is monitoring men's basketball transfer portal updates. Director of Transfer Student Experiences White has distributed the transfer student survey and is currently awaiting results. Upcoming outreach includes tabling on April 14th and April 16th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the RSC. Undergraduate Student Advocate Island is currently managing 3 active cases, all related to academic appeals, and recently completed a hearing on April 2nd. Additional work includes accessibility, reporting tools, and ongoing HR and legislative discussions. And lastly, Graduate Student Advocate Khan is also preparing for an upcoming grade appeal case following the semester. Does anyone have any questions?
Are there any questions before we move to the report for the SJ Connect dashboard? Okay, seeing none, we'll now go to the report from Director Gracia Alvarez.
This one. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Fabian Gracia, and if you don't know, I am the Director of Community Engagement and Outreach for SGA. And at the beginning of the semester, I started SGA Connect, which is a student feedback initiative where every week I would table at different locations within WSU asking specific questions. And this is the feedback, or the dashboard I've been to create with that data. So starting with the overview, which is self-explanatory, it's a high, broad overview of all the data. So as you can see, we've collected so far 464 responses through 6 weeks. Did one just today that I have not been able to add yet, and then that is split to 19 different categories. And so here you can filter through week, so you can see if the different questions are asked throughout the week and the type of data that was brought. So looking over all of it, number one issue I think is not surprising is parking, which received 100 responses, with 51 of those being immediate action items. So I categorized each category by 3 tiers, with the first one being most immediate, and then as well as priority. So based on the students and how they felt that the priority of their issue was then filtered through that way. And then finally 464 total responses. And then here's just the most brought up categories. So going to it's not updating. Okay, now going into the week by week, this splits up all the different weeks I did, as well as with the different incentives I used to bring in students to give responses, the amount of responses, as well as the location and question that was asked. And so here you can see, specifically what students gravitated towards each week and what categories were most prevalent for each question that was asked. And then down here you can see the most frequented locations, that being the Radigan Student Center and Woolsey Hall, receiving the most feedback. And then third tab, Student Voices. So this contains all the student feedback collected, specifically what they said. So you can search up here, specific things if you're looking for anything particular, as well as, between the 19 different category types. If you're looking for academic support and resource feedback, you can go through here and see all the different responses, which is exactly what students provided me with their issues. And going into the fourth tab, this is up to interpretation. This is how I categorized it by all the different bodies within SGA and which one could have the most direct impact to the feedback. So here you can see that, as long as a chart displaying which branch. And then finally, I think the most important tab, action plan. So this is derived from all the student feedback, from all the different tabling sessions, and organized by SGA body and action tier. So this is direct problems that any one of you could directly work on or support in some way. So for some examples, partner with Shocker Success Center to expand tutoring service hours and improve appointment scheduling, present documented evidence of advisor-student ratio deficiencies to academic affairs, and so on and so on. So these are all based off the responses, direct issues that any one of you could work on and help support. And hopefully this initiative doesn't end here. As multiple semesters come and different students come and go, we're able to expand this data, ask more questions, and make this a really rich dashboard. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Senator Mallard?
Is this open to us to view, or do we have to ask for permission from exec?
So I've given it to Matthew, and then I'm sure Matthew can share it to all of you.
After the meeting, I'll drop it in the group me and in the Teams for your reference. Are there any other questions?
And then we'll also have this for the next session, a part of our transition material that will be included in there for those who are returning to the next session, because I think one of the things, and I think in the same time, I'm going to, thank Fabian for his work on this, because I think the amount of students who have participated in this process to give and share information has been great. And so I encourage for those who were just elected for the next session to utilize this information, because I think this is direct information that students are telling us that they are concerned about, but we'll for sure also include it in your transition materials for the next group. But thank you, Fabian, for your leadership on this and for your hard work. And I know it's easy to just do the sticky notes, but to put it all together like this has been great. So let's give him his flowers for doing that too.
Are there any additional questions? Okay, seeing none, thank you. We will now move into 9.2, report from the Speaker of the Senate. So good evening, everyone. I hope your week is going well. First and foremost, I want to offer congratulations to all the candidates that were elected for the 69th session. As we start coming to an end for this session, I want you all to know that the work that you have done this session is appreciated. Just know that the time that you take in reviewing legislation, working on initiatives, working on projects has a positive effect on the student body. So keep that in mind as we're starting to wrapping things up as well. For me, I just have a few items that I would like to update you all on. The first update is as a reminder for deadlines for April 10th, this Friday, the deadline for legislation to be submitted for a first and final read with a suspension of the rules, or if it's deemed timely for me is April 10th, of course. So if you have a legislation that you would like to at least see the Senate floor, please send those to me by that date. Additionally, next week is the last Committee of the Whole Senate committee meeting as well. So as we're wrapping things up, please keep that in mind. One thing that I've been noticing recently is, especially in today's meeting, we have a lot of absences that come up today or the day before after the deadline. So please know you submit excuse. Forms kind of late. Typically, if there's no extenuating circumstance, I will deny those as well. It is really important that if you are able to attend your Senate committees and Senate as well. Today, for example, Student Services, we didn't have quorum to start off, so it is really, really important that you attend your committees. Additionally, if you're working on emeritus legislation, I would recommend that you reach out to me as I'm keeping track of who's writing emeritus legislation for who, as I don't want to see duplicate pieces of legislation. So if you are writing a piece of legislation for someone else, please let me know, and if someone else is working on it as well, I'll refer you to that senator or that cabinet director that is writing that legislation. Additionally, I wanted to address one topic that came up within the past few weeks. I think one discussion point that came up was belonging within our student senate. So in this Senate space, I want to ensure that you all feel comfortable and that you feel like you belong in this space. I will not tolerate any bullying. I will not tolerate any disrespect towards one another as well. So if something comes up, I want you to let me know, or at least let an advisor know, and we will address it immediately. I have a no tolerance policy for if it's sexual harassment, discrimination, anything with Title IX, student conduct. If I hear about something, I will address it immediately. Additionally, if you feel like you don't understand what is going on within the Senate meeting, especially with some of our funding processes, with special projects and capital fund, with student fees, with appropriations, I expect you to speak up as well. Ignorance is not an excuse for not representing your constituents. So if you do not understand what is going on, I expect you to bring it up, or at least ask the relevant parties for that as well. Additionally, as we start to come to a close, that's not an excuse to slack off in the last few weeks of the Senate session. So be thorough in your questions, be thorough with your legislation, be thorough in the remaining days in committee as well. Additionally, another point I would like to bring up is for the SJ banquet. If you have not RSVP'd for the banquet and you wish to go, please do so immediately. We are closing the form officially on April 11th. So if you did not fill out the form by then, or if you need a ride, or you need to ask me anything about the banquet itself, please do so as soon as possible so that we can get that done and squared away. Additionally, if you are graduating or you're an outgoing member of the association, the last Senate meeting, so April 22nd, is when we do concluding speeches as well, farewell speeches. So if you are one of those members and you would like to impart some wisdom, things you learned in SGA, things that you're proud of accomplishing this session, that is your time to do so as well. So if you are an outgoing member or graduating member, I will be sending you a calendar invite as a reminder to prepare a speech as well. Finally, if you need to reach back out to me, if I didn't respond to you about an email legislation initiative that you're working on, I'm in the process of catching up on emails. I was gone for a couple of days, and I have some exams this week as well. So please feel free to reach out to me via GroupMe, text, email about those discussions as well. But those are all the things I have for my report today. Are there any questions for me? Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll now move into section 3, report from the chairpersons, and we'll go to academic affairs chairperson B.
Good evening, Senators. In academic affairs today, we looked over AR-68-016, an act to address barriers to undergraduate research by Senator Miller. And we also went over what legislation we want to prioritize next session. We decided on standardizing registration time and adding international holidays to the syllabus. That's all.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Chairperson Beam? Seeing none, thank you. We will now go to diversity, empowerment, and inclusion, Chairperson Payne.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to say first, congratulations to those who were elected or re-elected today, and I hope your week has been going well so far. Not much to report from me. In committee tonight, we had gone over SB-68-146, an act to establish an international student mentorship program at Wichita State University. After some amendments, I'm happy to say that it passed unanimously. With the session ending, the senators had to come up with initiatives they wish to achieve for the new session, as most of them have been reelected, and I'm excited to see their ideas come to the floor this upcoming new session. But that is everything from me, and I will stand for questions.
Are there any questions for Chairperson Ping? Seeing none, thank you. We will now go to Government Oversight Chairperson Tawana.
Good evening, everyone. As of today in committee, we reviewed 3 pieces of legislation. For the first one, SB-68-168, an act to amend SGA bylaws to restructure the Student Organization Council. For this bill, particularly the framework we provided for first read last week has been completely gotten rid of, and we have amended a new framework, so that will be up for review next week during the second read, so you guys have a better look at that. Other than that, SB-68-159, an act to create student organization tier check process with a slight amendment that has been passed unanimously as well. And the last, SB-68-160, an act to establish a need-based higher education scholarship for rural students in District 1 of Kansas, has been approved with 7 votes in favor, so with a minor amendment as well. That's pretty much it. Does anyone have any questions?
Are there any questions for Chairperson Tawana? Seeing none, thank you. We'll now go to Student Services Chairperson Hanson.
Good evening, everyone. My committee unanimously passed Senator Winslow's an act to create a University Police Department Advisory Board with 2 small amendments, so look forward to seeing those on the floor next week. Also, congrats to Senator Winslow on being Senator of the Month for March. I am so proud of the work that you have done this session, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish in the next session. Additionally, Senator Miller's An Act to Address Barriers in Undergraduate Research was passed in Academic Affairs Committee tonight, so good job. Senator Hatch and Senator Timms both have legislation on the floor for their second read tonight, which Speaker Fawn and I will be presenting due to both of them having prior commitments. Other than that, Speaker Fawn and I met with Senator Argumedo on March 6th to discuss the future plans regarding his Lyft medical rideshare initiative, and I am adding the final details onto my transition guide. That's all.
Are there any questions for Chairperson Hansen? Seeing none, thank you. We will now move to 9.4, report from the central office.
Nothing for tonight.
Thank you. We'll now move to section 10 in the consent agenda. So for considerations 10.1, 10.2, I'm pulling the March 11th Senate meeting minutes from consideration, so we'll only be approving the corrections to the December 3rd, 2025 Senate meeting minutes. So you go into Teams and look at the corrections. They are indicated in red. Some of the voting was off, so shout out to Chairperson Tawana for noticing those errors. But are there any objections to approval of the December 3rd, 2025 Senate meeting minutes of corrections? Seeing no objections, is adopted as such. We will now move into section 11, pending business. And before we move into 11.1, I hand the chair over to Vice President Nguyen.
The clerk may read.
ACON requests to approve SB-68-154, an act to amend the Student Bill of Rights.
Is the author here and wish to speak? You have the floor.
Hi, everyone. So for this legislation, there are no changes that were made in committee. The language remains the same in adding a new section to the Student Bill of Rights that would provide universal protections regarding discrimination as well. With these changes, it would have protected classes include, but not limited to, race, ethnicity, nation of origin, culture, religion, creed, or lack thereof, age, veteran status, gender, sexuality, political affiliation, or disability. Are there any questions? I'll stand for any questions if anyone has any.
Are there any questions? Seeing none, we'll now move into the debate period. Would anyone wish to speak in debate? Seeing none, we'll now move into the voting period.
As a reminder, we have 25 senators now present. 2/3 majority would be 17, and simple is 13. Voting is now open. With 25 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstains, this bill passes.
I will now hand the chair back over to Speaker Fawn.
Thank you. We will now move into 11.2. The clerk may read.
ACON requests to approve AR-68-015, an act to prioritize the coordination of WSU and USD 259's inclement weather winter policies.
Is the author here ready to speak? You have the floor.
Hi again. Senator Timms did, first, the legislation was passed unanimously in Student Services with no amendments, and Senator Timms did not have anything that she wanted me to add, so I will be standing for questions.
We will now move into the question period for this item. Are there any questions for Chairperson Hansen? Seeing no questions, thank you. We will now move into the debate period on this item. Are there any individuals that wish to speak in debate at this time? I'll go to Senator Mallard.
Yeah, I'll be speaking in affirmation. I want to provide a little bit of insight on just exactly what this will all do. This does not just actually affect WSU, but this affects a lot of people in the Wichita community. For those of you who may not know, I also work for KU, the Kansas Geological Survey. They are housed here in Wichita, but the main site for the Kansas Geological Survey is up in Lawrence. If there is a snowstorm in Lawrence, but not as bad snow here, if Lawrence shuts down, my job does not shut down unless WSU does. So that makes it really, really hard for me. It makes it hard for my coworker who does have a baby, or not a baby, but does have young kids and brings them to school and all that. And so this policy will not just help the students here, but also a lot of people in the community. And so with that, I'm going to motion to approve with unanimous consent.
Are there any objections to this motion? Seeing no objections, is adopted as such. We will now move into 11.3. The clerk may read.
Act on request to approve SB-68-164, an act to establish a framework for recording and reporting unfinished legislative initiatives of the Student Senate.
Is the author here ready to speak? You have the floor.
Hi, everyone. So this bill was presented 2 weeks ago up for Senate, and it was passed with 5 votes in favor during Legislative Affairs Committee without any amendment. So if anyone have any questions, I'll stand in for questions.
We will now move into the question period. Are there any questions for the author? Seeing none, thank you. We will now move into the debate period for this item. Are there any individuals that wish to speak in debate at this time? Seeing none, we'll move into the voting period.
Voting is now open. With 25 yeses, 0 noes, and 0 abstains, this bill passes.
We will now move into 11.4. The clerk may read.
Act on request to approve SB-68-169, an act to add senator floor speeches to the bylaws.
Is the author here ready to speak? You have the floor.
Good evening. So last week I spoke about adding senator floor speeches to our bylaws. And during legislative affairs on Monday, there were a few changes. So I kind of wanted to go over them. So this includes adding a minimum speak time that the speaker can allow. So we added that, or Legislative Affairs added that a minimum of 3 minutes would be provided for each of those speakers. This is just so then it's not minimum of or maximum of 30 seconds, so then we can hear all of our speakers and provide them enough time. In addition, there was a change to add that senators are only able to speak during the senator floor speeches section. This was the original intent of separating senator floor speeches from public forum. So this would implement senators only speaking during that time. And this would provide our full attention going to any guests in public forum, have our full attention as senators. But I will stand for any questions if you have them.
Thank you. And before we move into the question period, for the document version that is the most updated, it will say second read final version. And that one has amendments made in legislative affairs. With that, we'll move into the question period. Are there any questions for the author? I'll go to Senator Miller.
So I understand that you've added subsection 4 to section C to separate senators from speaking during public forum, but in the past we've seen senators who have chosen to speak during public forum to speak on a topic outside of their role as senator. So would this effectively remove their ability to speak on a topic during public forum outside of their position as a senator?
Great question. So as a senator coming in, I believed that I could not speak in senator floor speeches if it was not regarding my role. But we are still students, and so you're still able to speak as a student because of your role in Senate. So if Speaker Fawn or Advisor Fonseca wants to kind of add to that too.
Yeah, I think when the senator floor speeches were originally created this session, I think the intent for the senator floor speeches when it was brainstormed upon was to only have senators speak in that period, and if senators were promoting an event, they could speak only in the senator floor speeches. I don't think we this year communicated that as well with the distinction. So that was the original intent when we created senator floor speeches. Advisor Fonseca, if you want to add any more to that as well.
I don't have anything unless there are questions I can help clarify, but that was just a good explanation.
Are there any additional questions from the author? Okay, seeing no more questions, thank you. We will now move into the debate period on this item. Are there any individuals that wish to speak in debate at this time? Senator Beam,
I motion to pass by unanimous consent.
are there any objections to this motion? Seeing none, it's adopted as such. We will now move into section 12, and before we move to 12.1, I will hand over the chair to Vice President Nguyen.
The clerk may read.
Act on request to approve SB-68-166, an act to amend the bylaws for the clerk of the Senate.
Is the author here and wish to speak? You have the floor.
Hi, everyone. So for this legislation, it has been a collaborative effort between all Senate leadership, including our clerk Isaiah, in addition to several previous clerks and speakers from previous sessions. So for this legislation, the idea kind of came about as we were reviewing the bylaws for this entire year with Advisor Fonseca and I going through all of our bylaws and reformatting them. So one thing that we noticed in this review is that there weren't very many guidelines for what would happen if the clerk did wish to resign, if they were absent for 10 days or more, if they were suspended by the Senate. So this formalized that process within our bylaws. A lot of the language within the clerk of the Senate legislation was taken from the chairperson legislation, but we also received feedback from previous clerks on different areas that they thought could be improved upon as well. In the case, we also added that in the case that the clerk was sick for a short period of time, the central office would serve in the capacity of acting clerk until a new clerk is appointed or until the current clerk comes back as well. For our outreach efforts regarding this legislation, I reached out to the three previous speakers and three previous clerks of the Senate for this legislation. I received a response from 5 of the 6 individuals I reached out to, and those 5 individuals gave me some suggested edits, feedback, and their thoughts about this legislation, and all 5 of those individuals so graciously agreed to be co-sponsors on this legislation. So the former Speaker of the Senate, Gregory Van Dyke Jr., former Speaker of the Senate and Student Body President Emeritus Kylie Hauer, former Clerk of the Senate and former Chief of Staff Nora Malone, former Clerk of the Senate Tessa Fry, and former Clerk of the Senate Noah Carter all gave feedback and agreed to be co-sponsors on this legislation. Additionally, with this legislation, I wanted to make sure all of our Senate leadership was on board with it as well, in addition to Clerk Thompson's feedback also. So with this language, once the session ends, the clerk's term will end as well. So the central office will act act as the acting clerk in the period that the Senate doesn't have a clerk. So the first two meetings of the 69th session, unless a new speaker appoints a clerk by the second session, the central office will act as the acting clerk as well. Additionally, it also prevents that awkward scenario where if the new speaker coming in didn't want the clerk that from the previous speaker to come in, the outgoing clerk doesn't have to sit through that process where they open up applications for a new clerk, but they are still technically the clerk. With our current bylaws, since they can't be a new clerk until a new one's appointed, so it removes that scenario for incoming speakers as well. But I will stand for any questions that any of you may have regarding this legislation.
Are there any questions? Okay, seeing none, this bill was submitted by a committee and therefore will skip a committee read and will be brought to the floor at the next Senate meeting for final action. And before we move on, I'll hand the chair back over to Speaker Fawn.
Thank you. We'll now move into Section 13, closing roll call.
Roll call is now open.
Okay, thank you. With that, before we move into Section 14 adjournment, I ask that Senator Winslow come to the front after Senate ends. In addition, if you wish if you have any questions, concerns about any legislation that you're currently working on and you wish for me to review those as well, I'll stay behind for a little bit as well. But with that, we'll move to Section 14 adjournment. The Student Government Association Student Senate will stand in adjournment until Wednesday, April 15th, 2026 at 6:30 p.m. I adjourn this meeting at 7:17 p.m.